You're sitting in your driveway right now looking at that shiny electric car your neighbor just bought, and they won't stop talking about saving the planet, right? But what if I told you that vehicle has almost nothing to do with the environment and everything to do with who controls the world's money, power, and resources for the next 100 years? What if the entire electric car revolution is actually the biggest geopolitical chess game ever played, and you and I are just pawns being moved around the board by people we'll never meet? Stick around, because what I'm about to show you will completely change how you see every Tesla, every Rivian, every electric vehicle rolling down your street. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll never look at your local charging station the same way again. And hey, if you're ready to see what's really going on behind the curtain, smash that like button right now and subscribe, because we're diving deep into territory most channels are too scared to touch. Hey, this is Mark, and you're welcome to AUTOSAYS. Now let's get into something that's going to blow your mind wide open. Think about this for a second. When was the last time you saw politicians from both sides of the aisle actually agree on something? Almost never, right? But somehow, some way, electric cars became this magical thing that everyone from California liberals to Texas conservatives started throwing billions of dollars at. Doesn't that strike you as weird? I mean, we're talking about the same government that can't agree on literally anything, but suddenly they're united in pushing these battery-powered machines. Here's where it gets interesting, and I need you to really pay attention here, because this is where the whole story starts to unravel. Go back to 1973, the Arab oil embargo. Gas lines wrapped around city blocks, Americans waiting hours just to fill up their tanks. The entire country brought to its knees because a few nations in the Middle East decided to turn off the tap. That moment, that crisis, that's when the people really in charge realized something terrifying. Whoever controls the energy controls everything. The economy, the military, your freedom to drive to work. All of it hanging by a thread connected to oil fields thousands of miles away. Fast forward 50 years and ask yourself, did that vulnerability just disappear? No, it morphed into something different, something arguably more dangerous. See, the folks running the show learned their lesson back in the 70s. They learned that depending on foreign oil was a national security nightmare. But here's the twist nobody talks about. Electric cars don't solve that problem, they just shift it. Instead of being dependent on Middle Eastern oil, we're now becoming dependent on Chinese lithium, cobalt from war-torn Congo, and rare earth elements controlled by nations that aren't exactly our best friends. You're probably thinking, wait Mark, are you saying electric cars are bad? No, that's not what I'm saying at all. Stay with me here, because this gets so much deeper. What I'm saying is that the push for electric vehicles has very little to do with carbon emissions and almost everything to do with reshuffling the global power structure. Think about who wins when America goes electric. It's not the mom-and-pop mechanic shop in your hometown, it's the lithium mining corporations, the battery manufacturers, the tech companies that control the software in these vehicles, and most importantly, it's the governments that control access to these resources. Here's something that'll really bake your noodle. You know what the Pentagon calls rare earth elements? They call them strategic materials, the same classification they give to weapons-grade uranium. Why? Because without them, you can't build missiles, you can't build fighter jets, you can't build advanced electronics, and oh yeah, you can't build electric car batteries either. So when your government is pushing electric vehicles so hard that they're literally banning gas cars in some states by 2035, you have to ask yourself, is this about pollution, or is this about securing access to the materials needed for the next generation of warfare and economic dominance? I want you to think about something else, too. Why did gas suddenly become the villain? Oil has been powering our world for over a century, and yeah, it's messy and yeah, it pollutes, but the timing of this massive shift is what's suspicious. Right around the time China started dominating the rare earth market, right around the time battery technology became viable, right around the time tech billionaires needed a new industry to revolutionize, suddenly oil became public enemy number one. Coincidence? I'll let you decide. But here's a fact you can't argue with. In 2010, China controlled about 85% of the world's rare earth production, the stuff you absolutely need for electric motors and batteries. By making everyone go electric, we're not reducing our dependence on authoritarian regimes. We're just trading one for another. Except this time, that regime manufactures everything from your iPhone to your appliances and holds trillions in American debt. Now, here's where the money gets really interesting, and I mean really interesting. The government subsidies for electric vehicles, the tax credits, the rebates, all that free money being thrown around, where do you think that actually goes? You think it goes to helping the environment? Listen, I've got nothing against clean air, I really don't, but follow the money and you'll see something fascinating. Those subsidies go straight into the pockets of some of the richest corporations on planet Earth. Tesla, GM, Ford, these aren't struggling companies that need help. These are massive entities with market caps in the hundreds of billions of dollars, and yet your tax dollars are being used to make their products cheaper. Why? Because the people making these decisions have investments, they have interests, they have connections to these industries that run so deep you'd need a submarine to explore them. But wait, there's more, and this is the part that should genuinely concern you. Electric vehicles are fundamentally different from gas cars in one critical way. They're computers on wheels. Your old truck from 1995, you could work on that yourself. You could fix it, modify it, keep it running forever if you wanted to. These new electric vehicles, they're locked down tighter than Fort Knox. You don't own the software. You can't repair them without authorized dealers. And oh yeah, here's the kicker. They can be updated, monitored, and yes, even shut down remotely. Think about that for a second. Imagine a world where your ability to drive depends on whether you're in good standing with the company that made your car or the government that regulates it. Sounds like science fiction, right? Wrong. It's already happening. Some electric vehicles already have kill switches built in. They can already be tracked in real time. And with the push towards subscription services, you might soon be paying monthly fees just to access features in a car you supposedly own. This isn't about the environment, folks. This is about control. This is about creating a system where your mobility, your freedom to move can be regulated, monitored, and, if necessary, restricted. Now, I know some of you are thinking I'm wearing a tinfoil hat right now, but answer me this. Why are insurance companies charging more for electric vehicles? Why are fire departments getting specialized training for electric car fires that burn hotter and longer than gas fires? Why are power grids struggling in states with high electric vehicle adoption? These are practical, real-world problems that nobody wants to talk about because it ruins the narrative. The narrative says electric equals good, gas equals bad. But reality is messier than that. Reality says we're replacing one set of problems with a completely different set of problems, and the people pushing this transition are making absolutely certain they profit from both sides. Here's the historical parallel that'll really connect the dots. Remember the California gold rush in 1849? Everyone rushed to California to strike it rich mining gold, right? But you know who actually made all the money? It wasn't the miners, it was the people selling the pickaxes, the shovels, the supplies. Same thing is happening right now with electric vehicles. The average person thinks they're participating in some environmental revolution, but the real winners are the corporations selling the batteries, the charging infrastructure, the specialized tools, the software subscriptions. It's the pickaxe sellers all over again, except this time they've convinced you that buying the pickaxe makes you a hero saving the planet. And speaking of saving the planet, let's talk about the environmental elephant in the room that everybody ignores. Mining lithium destroys landscapes. It uses massive amounts of water in regions that are already drought-stricken. It creates toxic waste that'll be around for generations. Cobalt mining in Congo uses child labor and creates human rights disasters that would make your stomach turn. But somehow, some way, that doesn't count against the environmental scorecard because it happens over there, not here. Out of sight, out of mind, right? We've just exported our pollution and our guilt to countries with fewer labor laws and fewer environmental protections. And then we pat ourselves on the back for being green. It's the ultimate magic trick. The pollution didn't disappear, we just moved it somewhere you can't see it. Now we're heading into the final stretch here, and this is where everything comes together. The electric vehicle push is the culmination of decades of planning by people who understand that the nation that controls energy controls the future.
This isn't Democrat versus Republican. This isn't liberal versus conservative. This is about power, pure and simple. The same families, the same investment firms, the same power brokers who controlled oil are now positioning themselves to control the electric future. They don't care about your political tribe. They care about maintaining their position at the top of the food chain. And electric vehicles are just the latest tool in that toolbox. So what does this mean for you, sitting there watching this on your TV? It means you need to wake up to what's really happening. I'm not telling you not to buy an electric car, that's your choice, and some of them are legitimately impressive machines. What I'm telling you is don't buy into the mythology. Don't think for 1 second that your purchase is saving the planet or striking a blow against big oil. You're just switching which massive corporation gets your money and which authoritarian regime controls the resources you depend on. The war for power never ended. It just changed uniforms.
The oil barons of yesterday are the battery barons of today, and you and I are still just paying the bills. Here's my challenge to you. Next time someone tells you electric cars are going to save the world, ask them who profits. Ask them where the materials come from. Ask them who controls the supply chain. The answers might surprise them, but they won't surprise you anymore. Because now you know the truth. This isn't about the environment. This is about the oldest game in human history, the fight for control over resources, money, and power. Electric vehicles are just the latest battlefield in a war that's been raging since the first human figured out that whoever controls what everyone needs controls everything. If this video opened your eyes even a little bit, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, share this with someone who needs to hear it, and drop a comment telling me what you think, because I read every single one. The truth is out there, but only if enough of us are willing to look for it. This is Mark from AUTOSAYS reminding you to question everything, follow the money, and never ever assume the story you're being sold is the whole story. Stay curious, stay skeptical, and I'll see you in the next one.